All right, guys, we are live. Yes, everything is okay. I've been putting in the comments, guys. Just had a few technical difficulties with my camera, and then my mouse decided to die at that exact same time. But we're good to go, y'all. Let's just jump into this, y'all. Thank y'all for coming on the show, hanging out with us tonight. Again, we got Pavel here. We're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff, y'all. This is going to be a good one. So look, let me bring Pavel in, and we'll do our normal tradition of asking where everybody's coming from.
Oh yeah.
What's up, Pavel?
How you doing, Patrick?
Good, man.
How's everything doing with you?
Good, man. I'm eating some fries. I got
Nice.
dinner here, so that's gonna
I just
happen.
had some machaca actually, so
You're lucky, dude. I got some fast food. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. Yes, I'm gonna be eating, but don't worry. I will mute. Yes, please, everybody, tell us in the comments, please, where you guys are coming in from. Would love to know. Georgia. What we got? Wyoming, Atlanta. We got Pavel in Tijuana, Crystal Lake, Prague, Australia, Indiana, Miami, Savannah, Oklahoma, New Jersey, Virginia,
Buenos
Detroit.
Aires.
Oh, you saw Buenos Aires? I missed it.
Yeah, Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Northern Ireland, Richmond, Detroit, Puerto Rico, Iowa, Long Beach. Wow, New Zealand. Okay, Jesus. North Long Beach, Cambridge. Oh, wait, no, Cambridgeshire. Hope I said that right. Mississippi, Chicago style. Love that, right?
Jalisco.
Jalisco. There we go.
I was actually born in Guadalajara, so hey.
Boom. Murray Robertson is from Glasgow. Marcus is coming from Pavel's closet. Wow. Melbourne, England, London. Yeah.
That's not my closet. That's my bathroom.
Jokes a phone booth at 7-Eleven. I love that. That's funny. All right, guys. Yes, thank y'all so much for joining. I've been doing these Thursday night streams every once in a while, so we may keep it going. But Pavel did a pretty cool and important interview recently, and we were talking about it. And I thought this is a great opportunity to have him on, and we can, chat about it. Let him sort of explain what's going on and what we'll get into. So I'm going to kind of hand it over here to Pavel for a second. And what do you want to what do you want to introduce first, man? What do you want to talk about first here?
First, I would like to talk about Julio, who is the Mexican pilot who testified in front of Congress. He's the first Mexican pilot to do it, and just talk about the interaction we had. Something that really struck me is that he's a very down to earth kind of guy, and he told me, like, can my wife come with me? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And they're like the sweetest couple. Like, they're so madly in love. They've been together for decades. It was so nice to see that,
That's awesome.
And they have traveled together, and I know it had many different impacts because he spoke to me about different stuff. There was the pilot group that he formed called Stellaris Project, which is composed by both commercial and military pilots. And Jaime Maussan is going to start rolling interviews of many of them. Some of them even had encounters similar to the Tic Tac. So that's going to be interesting to see for the first time on record on a big network, their accounts of stuff that has happened since the 70s all to today, So that's going to be important, I think. But I believe that the most interesting bit of all the interview was a part in which he tells me he went to Bolivia to a museum, and he saw like a giant vase that was like yay big. I don't know if you can see my hands.
No. I said, you know what? Hang on that part just 1 second, because I do want to get into that. But I have a clip lined up just so it's not out of context. I do want to play a clip from your interview, but the clip I have lined up is him. What did I do with that? Oh, well, is of him telling his experience of what he saw. So I figure, well, let's just take a look at that. But I do want to talk about, of course, it's on the thumbnail, right? We are going to
go by
that,
parts.
Yeah, let me just play this clip real quick, and that'll give people some context too. Again, dude, phenomenal interview, great job.
Thank you.
And let's, yeah, here we go.
Counter, well,
so strongly.
And real quick, this is originally done in Spanish, but Pavel released an additional video of the interview that is not only subtitled in English, but it's dubbed in English. And do you want to give a shout out to who took care of that for you?
Yeah, shout
Pavel?
out to Gonzalo Chavez, who is he works a lot behind the scenes. He's very involved with the Mummies investigations, and he's very passionate about it. So anything about ancient civilizations from Mesoamerica or Latin America, Gonzalo is all over that. So he's been a real great help and everything that I really don't know much about, because let's be clear, both you and I are no Asian civilizations experts, and
Speak for
we're
yourself,
learning.
Pavel. Okay, speak for yourself.
We're learning alongside everyone else. So
Yeah.
whatever you guys want to share, please don't hesitate, and shout out to Gonzalo.
There we go. Shout out to Gonzalo for taking care of this. All right, I'm going to back it up. There we go.
And you have had some encounter, well,
so strongly that I can tell you, no, the only thing was what I always mention in other videos. It is some spheres there in the Baggio area.
Okay.
For the 7 luminaries, that entire area.
Okay, tell me.
As we took off, 2 traffic appeared on the screen. 2 traffic was coming towards us, and it was dawn, so the system alerted me. And when it alerts you, you have to be prepared to make an evasive maneuver. It can simply go up or down, and well, the traffic, they are seen on the screen. I notified the person at the tower. I told him, hey, there are 2 traffics in formation flying towards us. He told me, I don't have anyone flying at the moment, Captain. That's what he told me. It was a woman. It was a woman, and I said, well, then it happens. We continue going up. The traffic passes below, the impression that can be seen on the screen. And I told the first officer to turn around to see what it was. And well, that's when the surprise didn't happen. What he told me is that you're not going to believe me. And he turned around and came back, turned around and came back. And they are 2 spheres. They are 2 large spheres. And well, it shocked me because that area is where you can see those spheres where there have been several important sightings.
Where Koyam happened, right?
What, forgive me?
Where was the Koyam crash?
I don't know. He went north.
You guys kind of get into that, the Mexico's Roswell a little bit, but some of that was wrong, a little bit wrong, that translation, because it's saying, maybe we can just clarify. So it's saying the traffic, he's meaning there's 2 objects, right? Like 2 unidentified objects, basically.
Yeah, and in Spanish, I don't know if it's the same in English, but when a pilot sees something,
what was he saying?
Radar, when they see something on the radar, they go like, es un tráfico. Un tráfico.
They call it a tráfico. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
They mean an object, like
Correct.
in English. I don't know how pilots
say
it.
Yeah, I don't either, actually. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so he sees a couple objects. So he's had his own personal sighting, but like you said, he's also been involved with this group called Stellaris, right?
Yeah.
Which is composed of other pilots, commercial, private, military, also like radar operator, right? Like other people associated. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard in the interview, they're trying to bring you into this group.
Yeah, he told me he wanted to, because he has multiple people here in Tijuana and in other places of the north of Mexico who are starting to get more interviews with pilots on their own. But I still don't know how that would work, because this is where a major conflict of interest comes for me. I don't know if you want to get into that a little bit right now.
I don't know. Is it a lot? I don't know.
It's about essentially the thing that gives me pause to be involved with Jaime Maussan and all his team. I think that Mr. Maussan is basically one of the few or only faces of, you can call it Latin American disclosure in Spanish, you know?
Sure.
And there are many aspects of this topic. It's not just ancient civilizations, it's crashes, it's different types of cases, orb sighting. He has his hands in everything, like literally. And whenever you want to go do a case of something, he probably already studied it or he has connections to it somehow.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against him really, but I have noticed that there's this kind of struggle between the English speaking research community in the UFO topic and Mr. Maussan. And there's a lot of slandering going around between them. And I don't really want to be part of that. I would like to not bother anyone and just make people understand that I want to conduct my own investigations, form my own network as we are doing, as I'm doing with Kristian, as I'm doing with Gonzalo. And there are other people who are coming into the fold and trying to do something independent from all of that mess, you know, because it is a mess. I mean, the American side put out that TMZ documentary, man. That was a hit piece, basically, against Maussan. And I get it. I mean, I get it. He's had many cases that have been either debunked or defamed over 50 years. But I always compare what he's doing and his history to many of the problems that Linda Moulton Howe, for example, encountered in her many decades of investigating this. She's been slandered too. She's been accused of many things too. And I think they're kind of similar in many ways, you know.
So real quick, let me make sure I understand this correctly, and for the audience, everyone watching, you're saying Jaime Maussan and his team have asked you to be a part of their group, and you're sort of contemplating whether or not you
not exactly. They didn't ask me. I initially, well, you know that I interviewed him back in October, which is
But isn't Julio part of the Stellaris group? Isn't Jaime running that Stellaris group?
No.
Oh, he's not.
What I'm saying is that he has monopolized many of the potential interview subjects, you know, because he wants them for his networks and his channels.
Sure.
And that's
basically it's hard to do anything in the topic outside of it.
Yeah, in Spanish.
If you're trying to work independently, in the Spanish community. If you're trying to do something outside of him, kind of really hard because he's already touched a lot of these people.
Yeah.
I mean,
for small channels like mine, you know, because I'm not going to tell anything to Mr. Fepo, for example, who has a major following. Yeah. He deals with more paranormal stuff, but he also talks a lot about UFOs. Mm-hmm. And he's already has his major following, right? But Maussan is like the patriarch in many ways, you know? And whatever you got to do, if you're a small channel, you got to go through him. It's almost imperative, you know?
And you're just hesitant to do that.
Yeah, because, I mean, for example, there's this general who in 2004 had an encounter with several orbs in the south of Mexico. And this general, I was talking to Julio about this general, and I was asking Julio after the interview if I could get his contact so we can have an interview. And initially, when I asked him during the interview, right after, he said, yeah, I'm going to talk to him, see if he wants to come on your show. And I was like, cool. Then like a few days later, I was like, hey, did you ask the general if it was, he was like, I think I got to respect what they're trying to do with the new channel with Mr. Maussan. He's going to be with Mr. Maussan first, and then we can see if he'll be on your show. And I was like, okay. So and
Got it.
his channel, the new channel he's doing with History Channel, is due on October, I think. So it's still a few months ahead. I mean, it wouldn't really hurt him if he allowed for the general to speak to other podcasters, you know.
I mean, let's be real. The general should be able to decide for himself. He's a grown man.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's my issue, you know.
I get
And
it. Access, right? It's just
Yeah.
about access. Same thing with some like Jason Sands, for example, right? They didn't
Yeah.
want him to talk because, well, he's coming out in James Fox's documentary, right? Same scenario, right? So it's like, no, I get it, man. You want to have the interview, you want to get the stuff. Well, it sounds like you can do it without him, right? It sounds like
Yeah,
you can still
think so,
report
too.
on it, you know, when he does. But I get it. I totally get it. What other things did Julio, outside of this La Fuente Magna that we are going to get into and the Sumerian stuff, outside of that, what did he tell you that was sort of impressive about
Well,
UFOs, UAPs, something else? You know,
he told me that there's this new technology they have that helps them identify more UFOs as actual satellites, which is fairly new. And he told me that at least like 70% of the objects were more easily identified with this technology. I don't know what it is. He didn't specifically tell me what it was, but I think it has to do with radar, you know?
Okay.
And that I found that really interesting, because he was like, we realized like just a few years ago when a new technology came out that many of these orbs and objects were just satellites. And we learned to identify them over the years. And more recently, we have managed to identify almost all of them. There are just still a few, like 3 to 5% of the objects that we still cannot identify. And those are the ones that you see on the Stellaris project on the Instagram page. And there's this pilot they have that kind of attracts them. He's like, his page is filled with videos of flights where he's recording them from a distance, though. And he also told me about this encounter that a female pilot had, that she didn't want to reveal her identity, where the orb kind of got into the cockpit and illuminated the cockpit.
Holy shit, the orb came into the cockpit.
Yeah, and that was recent too. And I was like, what? And is she going to talk to Mr. Maussan or something? He was like, no, she doesn't want to go public. She's like really scared.
Did the orb, she saw it go through the glass?
Yeah. That's what he told me.
Holy shit.
The orb approached her and it got into the cockpit and it illuminated the whole cockpit, and then it just got out. But it discontrolled everything, you know. It was
all the controls went haywire for her.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty crazy. I gotta admit, I don't know if I've heard of a story like that, right? That's pretty fascinating. So basically, there's this whole treasure trove of people just in Mexico alone, pilots, military pilots, commercial pilots, who have had experiences, if not identical to the Tic Tac, but also just their own crazy military experience, right?
Yeah.
And that is insane to think about, right?
Yeah. It's happening all over the world.
Yeah, there's a lot going on down there that people are not hearing about outside of Mexico.
Yeah. And I think it's important for people to realize this, especially because I see, you know, how this whole disclosure thing is progressing. I was listening to Ross yesterday, and he seemed like really disappointed by the lack of action from Americans. And I think that
he went on a little anti-American diatribe, which I wasn't too excited about, considering he's not an American. It's like, hey, dude, calm your britches, calm your shorts here for a second. But yeah, I hear you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, I think that I kind of get where he's coming from a little bit, because Americans are very, I mean, the whole world is like this, but Americans have like a special way of being a little too engaged with the materialistic paradigm, you know? and we all get easily distracted with a lot of stuff. And when a story comes along, even though it seems important, there's always that other thing that we want to see, and we quickly forget about the story, the ones that are important. And that's because we're being bombarded with a lot of stuff on a constant basis, and we don't have the capacity to discern what is really important and what isn't. I mean, we become very subjective with what is important.
Sure. Look, the only thing I push back on a little bit is just remember America is 330 million people.
Oh yeah.
So America isn't one thing, right? To be like America is this or Americans are like this. It's not true. Like America is made up of a lot of different things. So some Americans may be that way, but you'll find that America is a melting pot of people. So I would be cautious to put America in one bubble, one basket as being this one thing. Just like when people say that about Mexico and Mexicans, right? It's like it's not true. Mexico is diverse.
That what Ross
it's
meant,
all of this.
I think that what Ross meant is that he wants the majority of Americans to pay attention to this, and it's not happening.
No, I get that. I was talking to you.
Yeah.
I was talking to you about what you had just said, but I also heard you in your podcast talking about the gringos and this and that. And I thought, I would just be cautious with that, man. Like, just remember, America is made up of a lot of different people here, dude. From all kinds
I actually
of
spoke
places,
to someone about using that word because let me clarify that, because I know it can be offensive to Americans. But in Mexico,
I wasn't offended by no means.
But in Mexico, we use it as a kind of a term of endearment. It's different.
Sure.
So
100%.
I want to clarify that because I know some may have been offended by it, and it wasn't my intention.
Don't sweat it. I just meant paint. Basically I mean is painting America with one color brush. Right?
Yeah.
I would be cautious to do that because it's just not like that, dude. If you've ever lived in America, it's so different. Southern California to northwestern or northeastern Maine, to Alaska, to Hawaii, to Florida, to New Orleans, to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Iowa, Detroit. Like these are all different places, dude. Different thinking people. So we're not all materialistic. We're not all this. It's the same issue I had when I lived in Europe and people would paint America with one brush. Oh, you guys are all like this. No, we're not. We're not all like that. We are very different. And I do think that there are a lot of Americans who get caught up in just America. But to be fair, again, I've lived in other countries. They do the same thing. If you're in Mexico, people in Mexico are talking about Mexico.
That's why I kept saying we, because I think it's a phenomenon that happens.
It is everybody. I think we all need to be trying to get together. Definitely a lot more sharing information. You're right about Jaime he gets the short end of the stick here. I think people definitely dismiss him.
Yeah.
In a lot of UFO circles. But I don't know if I would just necessarily say American. I would just say just a lot of different UFO circles for some reason push them away. But what you realize is all the UFO circles push everybody away. They're all pushing each other and fight. They're all over the place, fighting together. And, it sounds like Jaime does a great job of just doing his own thing. But maybe he is monopolizing a little bit too much. Do you think he's monopolizing down in Mexico because he doesn't feel there's anyone else doing anything? So he feels like
I talked about this in one of my podcasts, in one of my episodes about the Latin American versus American disclosure. I think there is a language barrier issue too, where people, for example, I'm going to give you the example of my own country. Yeah. Here in Mexico, when we see a foreigner speaking another language, it's very easy for us to just, out of laziness, just not want to engage because they don't speak the language,
Sure.
And I'm Mexican, but when I lived in Guadalajara, when I was in college, I was hanging out with a lot of foreigners because we party and all that,
right? Yeah.
And when I remember one time, it's really clear in my mind still. We were at one of the mediums of transport, which are big buses, but they're called peceras over there. And we were speaking English. I was with an American friend, and a dude was like, "You need to speak Spanish. You're in Mexico," and he just got out of the bus, and I was like, "What's wrong with this guy?" And I think it happens everywhere, you know. And whenever people are uh, English speakers hear the language, they just don't want to go through the hassle of trying to translate it or understand it. Even though we have a lot of tools already here, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think there's this language and idiosyncrasies barrier, because even if you learn the language from any country you want, you're not going to be able to communicate the same way as two people from the same country do between each other. It's
Yeah,
just not going to
100%.
happen unless you live
100%.
there for a little while and you learn their
Even then,
customs, you know? Yeah,
even
yeah.
then.
And I
Yeah,
think
you're
that's a
right.
lot of what's happening. That's the majority of what's happening, to be
Sure.
honest with you.
Sure.
So,
So you think the beliefs line up, right? It's not like they're believing different things. It's just what you said. It's the barrier between it, because it's not the
yeah.
belief systems, right? The things Jaime is proposing, people all over the world are proposing different
No, and
things like that.
it's
Ancient,
another thing too.
right? I
It's
mean,
another thing too. Because I heard this, I'm going to tell you what happened, because it's already public, kind of public. Uh, one of Mosan's people posted a video where he was accusing Ross Coulthard and Dr. Nolan and all these people of racism and xenophobia. And
oh,
Ross, I was trying to get Ross's attention to try to investigate the mummies through my channels. And when I finally got him to pay attention, this video comes out. Ross writes to me and he's like, "What's wrong with this guy? Can you please?" He initially thought that the account was mine. And I was like, "No, it's not
oh
mine.
shit.
I
Who was the
know
account? Can you say who's the account that posted that?
it's a very famous account about the mummies that posted the video."
Is it just Nazca Mummies? Is it that one?
Yeah, yeah. I
Got
think
it.
it's that
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And the video was removed eventually, but I think the damage was already done, you know.
Sure.
And Ross was trying to investigate the case, and he was trying. I don't know if he's still trying, but I want to say what happened. I want to talk about what happened because I was mildly involved with it. I've been very hesitant to talk about the mummies in public on purpose. I'm Mexican. People have asked me, "Why don't you talk about the mummies that much? You're Mexican." It's because
Yeah.
of all this noise that is happening behind the scenes. I really don't like it. And I think that these accusations are also not the way to go. It's a language barrier problem for the most part. And also, the
Yeah.
people from the English speaking community think there's a lack of credibility from Maussan due to all those cases where he was debunked or slandered or whatever, you know.
So what? So what's going on with this Ross thing then?
Wait, what?
So what's going on with the Ross thing then? So you emailed Ross about this. He emails and says, "Hey, what's going on with this video that got put up?"
They
But you
deleted
don't
it.
know, and they deleted it. But you don't know
Yeah.
if Ross is still continuing to investigate.
I have
the
no
mummies.
idea. Actually, since then, Ross has been really
He hasn't responded to you.
hermetic, I would say. You know, like he only responds to me every now and then, just one word. It changed. Everything changed.
Through
And
email or what?
no, it was just DMs.
Got
Yeah.
it.
But he used to respond to everything that and after that things did change. And I mean, it's
Well,
okay,
if
man.
you had
I
it,
mean,
no, I get it. I get it.
I
I mean, I get how you
understand
feel.
him. Yeah.
What? I mean, if you had to bet on it, how likely do you think it is that he is going to look into these mummies and make some sort of report on it, not just look into it, but
Recently there was an official peer-reviewed paper on some of the bodies,
I
and
saw that.
although they're not like extremely, they don't say these are non-human bodies, you know, they don't say that. They just say that the bodies are authentic, they're of the same age that Mausan and Joyce Mantilla and Thierry Jaman have been saying they are.
Like
And
that they're 3,000 years old.
one
Roughly.
is 1700 and the other one is about 1,000.
Oh, got it.
Because
Okay, got it.
there are like 3 different species. There's one that is supposed to be reptilian. There's one that is humanoid,
Okay.
and there's one that other species that are like
The
insectoid.
giants. Oh, what about the giant one?
That's like a secret right now. And there's this person in Maussan's circle. I'm not gonna name him because I don't want to give
Didn't we talk
publicity,
about the giant already?
yeah.
We did, right?
Yeah, there, but that's the only tweet he's
So
put
wait, so
out
no one else
since
is talking about the giant that you and I have been talking about?
no.
Guys,
And-
there is a giant. I'm telling you right now, it's like 80 feet tall, right? It probably isn't it like 80 feet tall,
8 meters.
8 meters. So 24 feet tall.
I'm not saying it's real. I'm saying
You said
the
8,
tweet.
right? Not 80.
Yeah,
Just making
No,
sure.
8,
Yeah. I'm not. I know
8
you're not
meters.
saying you're not validating or anything, but
Yeah.
that's crazy. So 24 foot tall being, and they have the skull, right? Just the skull.
Yeah, which is like they're saying that it's around 60 centimeters in diameter, which is fucking
Holy
gigantic.
cow. I mean, what kind of skull? I mean, it has to be for a being that's 24 foot tall,
Yeah,
right? That's
it's
3
massive.
Dikembe Mutombos, bro. You know what I mean? This is
2
like,
Yao Mings.
yeah, this is too, yeah. Bro, it's crazy. I mean, that's insane. And so that must be a separate species, right? And
Yeah.
we don't know when they're going to even
If
come
it's
out
real.
with this giant.
Yeah.
I guess they're, you know, I don't know, dude. Like rolling it out little by little. So what's the next thing to happen with these? Here's 2 questions I have for you. One,
Yeah.
what's the next thing that's going to happen with these mummies, right? And 2. If I were to have one person on my podcast to talk about the mummies, who do you think it should be?
Okay. The first question is kind of long, but I'm going to answer it, but because it's important. I think that what is already happening, and it's finally happening, is that people within the scientific community and academia in the US are already paying attention, finally paying attention. And that, I mean, it is kind of weird that until these people paid attention, the case is suddenly more serious when it was the
Sure.
whole time, you know?
It was there the whole time. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
It is weird. It's something I don't like personally. But I don't know how to explain it other than
Listen,
that
dude, we're
language
still
barrier.
we're still looking into Roswell.
Yeah.
Okay, so like it's been 70 years, bro. So anyway,
and it's gonna keep moving forward. There was this peer-reviewed paper that I mentioned already. Professor Brown, who's a philosophy teacher. I don't recall the university. I think it's Illinois. I don't recall. I'm gonna talk to him.
philosophy teacher.
Yeah, he's the
what's
one
he doing looking at the mummies?
There's a video where he's analyzing some of the scans, and it's like he was
why
giving
is
a
he
lecture.
analyzing it? But why does he's a philosophy teacher? Am I misunderstanding what philosophy is?
No, not really. I'm gonna ask him that.
Yeah, I mean that's like
Yeah.
I should look at the mummy and be like, yeah, looks real to me.
But he was interviewed by the folks at the Roswell Daily Record, and I think he's going on that UFO podcast too, because you know there's a lot of academia people who completely shut down the idea of looking at this, and he was one of the few who did. You know,
But it
even
shouldn't
though
just
he's
be
just a philosopher.
academia. Yeah,
I
that's
know.
what I mean. It should, that's like that doesn't make any sense at all to me.
And then there's Dr.
whatever.
McDowell, and then there's another Dr. Brown who was part of the people in Peru when these Americans went to the conference and it was hijacked. You made the live stream there. These people are the ones that are now involved in this. And the problem is that the samples that need to get out of Peru, like DNA samples, can't get out because the case is currently tied in a case. It's a $300 million lawsuit.
Got it.
And the Peruvian Ministry of Culture just recently like a week or 2 weeks ago, they finally agreed to get in a room and speak to the people who have the mummies in their possession. I don't know if that is real. Like I don't know if it's a gimmick or something, because the Peruvian Ministry of Culture are the ones responsible for all the obfuscation in the case.
Yeah.
They detained someone at an airport with 2 dolls that were constructed, and they said those were the mummies, that they were fake dolls, and that's bullshit. That was proven to be bullshit. And then there are the real bodies, and the ones that are allegedly reptilian, there are people who claim that they are constructed also, as well, but they were ceremonial constructions that were made 1,000 years ago to for these real bodies, and they were found in the same site.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I know in fact, I think the last time that we spoke, we mentioned that, but I just want to mention that again while we're talking. You're saying when they went to this cave or whatever, right? At the entrance, there were mummies that looked identical, right? There's 2 sets of mummies. One was ceremonial, not real,
Yeah.
right? Fakes up front, unofficial sports jerseys, right? And then back behind had the official mummy, the real mummies, the real ancient species. And people are getting them confused. They're showcasing both, but we don't know. Is there something on them that lets people know which is which? Does that make sense?
It is still disputed. I mean, when I showed my wife the DNA test, where she told me that these were bones from an alpaca, and she was the one that told me, she's a biologist, she should know. And those are from the ones that Maussan presented in Mexico, the little ones. And those are the ones that people are debating on whether they're ceremonial dolls that were created 1,000 years ago, or if they are actual mummies. But they are 1,000 years old.
Either way.
And then the bodies, the ones that are one had
full
like
size or whatever,
a fetus inside and everything, Montserrat.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are still in Peru, still tied up there, and they're our size, kind of,
Correct. No, human size or normal size or whatever you want to call it. Okay, interesting. And those are the ones that are supposedly real.
Yeah, those are the ones that have elongated skulls. They also are tridactyl. And the narrative that is going around, especially with Maussan's people, is that these were created through a genetic experiment. And they're supposed to be hybrids. That's what it says in the website. The website created by Thierry Germain, it's called the Alien Project, I think. And that's what it says, that they're supposed to be, they're categorized as hybrids.
Got it. Yeah. Hybrids. Yeah, you're right. All right. Well, that's fascinating. We'll keep an update on all of this. Definitely fascinating for sure. Look, let's jump into this other part here, which is, I guess near the end of your interview with Julio, is it more or less, right? Where he starts to talk about some ancient civilizations, more specifically, this bowl that was found in Bolivia and okay, everyone, get your serious face on. The bowl was found in Lake Titicaca. Okay, get your serious face on. That's literally the name of the lake. Get your giggles out now. It's done. That's what it's called. So they find this bowl, and in the inscription of the bowl, they think, oh, these inscriptions are potentially Sumerian or Proto-Sumerian, right? And it's got this cuneigraph, this special type of writing. And the significance of that is, well, wait a second, because it's dated thousands of years ago, right? So it's like, how did the Sumerians get to South America?
Yeah.
Right? Because the bowl is from that area, right? But made by Sumerians. So it's not like the bowl came from Sumeria, right? And made its way there. They're saying, no, it's from this region, but made by Sumerians. Now, as I dug into it, I found there are definitely, just like the Anunnaki and Stitchin and all that, there's different translations of this bowl and what people think it says and doesn't say. But I found it interesting, right? What the bowl potentially could have been used for, which I don't think that is up for debate, right? What the bowl is probably used for, just who made it, right?
Yeah.
Who were the people that made this, and what does it actually say? So I found it super fascinating. Let me bring up a picture here. Feel free to add anything as I'm talking here.
Yeah,
bro.
the bowl has scriptures, inscriptions on two different languages. One is pre-Columbine on one side, which is from the culture that lived at the time over there, and the other one is the cuneiform. Is called the Sumerian text. It's Proto-Sumerian, Proto-Cuneiform, Proto-Sumerian. They say
Correct.
And as many of the vetters will know, Sumerian is supposed to be the most ancient language recorded in human history, which is about 3000 BC or something like that. And
and the Sumerians, with the Anunnaki and all of that. So it kind of got into this. I think even Julio said in your interview that potentially the Anunnaki came to South America first, but realized it was too rocky to mine gold. So they went back to Sumeria and created their army of gold miners.
And they were mining tin. They were mining copper. They were mining. That's the story, right? That they were very interested in the gold in the region.
I mean, that changes the story of the Anunnaki a little bit, and the Sumerians, and it's very fascinating to think that this something like that, right, happened in South America. But let's be real, the history, I would say the global history, not just South America, is not figured out, right? People think they got it figured out what happened, that we have no clue. There's so much back in the day that happened, especially thousands of years ago. And we just get little clues like this. We find a fucking bowl, dude. Can you imagine if thousands of years in the future, like all that's left is they find this like piece of IKEA furniture, and they're trying to like determine from that this whole culture and civilization from one piece of IKEA furniture, like oh, das Haus, like this model, like
they can't even agree on the oldest actual scriptures. And which one is the oldest right now? You think
even
they're
reading
gonna
this thing, they couldn't figure it out, right? Like, no, dude, absolutely. So I found this bowl fascinating, and the rabbit hole that it sent me down. So check the description. I put links in there. It's really easy to search Fuente Magna, and you can start looking into it. Again, it'll spiral out into a lot of other things that you'll want to look into. But I found it fascinating. What to you about this was most fascinating?
To me, apart from the obvious Sumerian that is written there, I think that the depiction of the figure that is in one of those pictures, multiple scholars have already said that it's a goddess from the Anunnaki. Her name is, well, wait up. I sent you the picture, remember? What's her name?
Nammu.
Nammu. Who is Nammu? Nammu in the story of the Anunnaki is the mother of, is the wife of what's his name? The father of Enki and Enlil. I think it's An or Anu. I don't know if that I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah, but, I mean, you're pronouncing it right.
And she's supposed to be the mother of the two brothers, Enki and Enlil.
There we go.
And she's the goddess of fertility from the Anunnaki and the Sumerians. And she's a serpent, which is fascinating. I don't know if you can tell. She's carrying a baby that is also serpent-like, who is feeding on her breast.
Yeah.
Is that PG?
Or eating her alive. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I find it fascinating because, let me bring this up too, real quick. So you guys see that picture, right? So this bowl that I showed just a minute ago, potentially part of it was that it was used for libation, And you may think you know what libation means, but I promise you don't. At least where it came from in ancient Sumer, right? The Sumerian afterlife was a dark, dreary cavern located deep below the ground. The bleak domain was known as Kur, where the souls were believed to eat nothing but dry dust, and family members of the deceased would ritually pour libations into the grave through a clay pipe, thereby allowing the dead to drink. So as you can see in this little picture, right, you see a little hole they would dump using that bowl that I showed you earlier, this Fuente Magna bowl. They would, fill it up, get it, whatever, and dump drinks down in there, right? Now, what they're saying is that this bowl was used, right, as libations for, like you said, the goddess of fertility, right? So to potentially ask for fertility, right? Like, help me get my wife pregnant, or for women, women to become fertile and get however it was done. But again, that I think is widely accepted amongst, from what I could find, that it was used for libation and all of that. But what was not widely accepted was its origin, right? Like who actually made this thing?
Yep.
Right. Who made this thing? And it is interesting. They said that the guy that they said this, I don't know how, I guess I'm going to say this wrong, but a guy was using this in Bolivia to feed his pigs out of.
Damn.
When they found it. Like he's like, oh yeah, that bowl, I used to have that thing. I used to feed my pigs out of it. Like, oh Jesus.
Damn.
Yeah, I found that interesting.
What would Amu think?
He'd probably be like, good, use it. I don't know.
Something that I find interesting about this too, though, I think it goes into what Dr. Amon Hillman studied, because these rituals have been present in human civilizations for thousands of years. And I think that his perspective is very unique in the sense that he understood the ancient Greek, which he's debating it's the oldest scripture there is in ancient Greek. That's debatable. I think the oldest is Sumerian, and Greek and Hebrew are pair, hand in hand, kind of. But I think that the fact that he also studied ancient pharmacology ties into whatever these rituals were about, because before the Abrahamic religions were created, there was a lot of discontrol. And as a younger civilization, humans, we started like in plants, making combinations, making chemistry, alchemy, all this type of stuff. And there are some combinations that I bet we found that have different effects on people. And some of these effects, for example, what they're studying in England with DMT, I don't think that's like, I think there are substances and combinations that take you to an entirely different place that DMT takes you to, because they have different reactions inside the brain, chemical reactions. And someone who's already away from this substances world, I can tell you every single substance that people take will take them on a different vibration and a different frequency, and the effects are very different. We don't know the vast majority of plants and pharma products. We don't know their effects really. We know right now in modern society, I would be surprised if 10% of everything that can be consumed and have an effect on the human mind is known right now. But the ancient people knew a lot more about that. And the Alexander Library, how much pharmacology was in that library alone? How many books about pharmacology have been taken by the Vatican and stored, because they consider them to be not only paganistic, but also dangerous to human society. And honestly, what Dr. Amon Hillman spoke about was really interesting to me from that sense. But I did find it really funny that he really thinks that the ancient Greek scriptures are the oldest ones. I don't think that's accurate. I think that Mauro Biglino is the one that is making the most accurate translations of these beings, the Elohim he calls them, but it's essentially the Anunnaki too. You know,
Yeah.
that's what fascinates me about this whole story, man.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, it's just again the unknown, but the unknown in a different way because it's the unknown from a known, meaning our Earth, places
Yeah,
we've been, places we live now, places we can go, and thinking about what happened here, right? What civilizations lived here? What did they know? What got lost? What are we? Maybe we've already been down this road before and had TV and film and been to space, and then it fell off, and then we started again, but it's all lost in the ground, right? We have no way to know. I don't know. I guess we would have found that piece of IKEA furniture by now, but
yeah,
wow, that's interesting for sure. The Anunnaki. Did you see the Billy Carson?
yeah. Of course, I saw it.
What did you think of that, Billy Carson on Joe Rogan? Because they
I
brought up the Anunnaki and
yeah, I
they
think
spoke about it.
I think they're on the money and the essence of the story, because all the texts, man, they talk about the same stuff. They have the same story beats, and it's not a coincidence. I mean, it's impossible that a civilization in Euro-Asia or all the way in China would have told the same story that one here in the Americas about the flood and about, all these
Sure.
story beats that they all repeat. It's impossible that it was just a coincidence. There was a lot of stuff that did happen. And the Hindus also in the Bhagavad Gita, they talk about these blue beings that are flew in vimanas, which are kind of similar to UFOs. And I don't know. I think it is fascinating, but that gets into a really murky territory that cannot be proven, which is kind of
Sure.
frustrating because all of this
Yeah.
stuff, and I know Mr. Maussan is going to talk about this a lot, about this genetic manipulation, and I think that's the biggest angle that he's going to try to take with his channel. And I don't think it's really that mistaken to try and study that aspect of ancient civilizations,
Yeah. No, I agree, man. Let's define Anunnaki for some people that may not know. We're talking about this. We're saying that there might be people be like, "What the hell are they even talking about?" I'm sure a lot of people know that are watching, but I bet there's some that don't. How would you quickly elevator pitch describe the Anunnaki?
From Sumerians, the actual translation of the word means the people who came from the skies. That's it. That's the way they describe them. But there are also in what's it called, the Epic of Gilgamesh. There's this description of the Anunnaki, and they believe that they're humanoid-like figures who are really tall, have like superhuman capabilities, and that's why civilizations that are here thought they were godlike beings or gods, essentially. That's the story, really. But there's a certain point in history, starting with the Sumerians, where many different civilizations describe them in different manners, and that's where it all gets convoluted because each of them have their scriptures, each of them have similar traits like godlike features, but they have different names, different colors, different and that's where we get lost. That's the problem mainly. That's why I think that Mauro Biglino's texts are the ones that get closer to what could have happened back then and what these are. He calls them the Elohim, and Elohim is a word for gods, not just God. And that's why Biglino was excommunicated by the church, because he refused to change the plural of that word to singular. because the Catholic Church is monotheistic, and many other religions are too. And Biglino is very adamant there that those are plural. It's not a singular. So that means it's not just one.
Yeah. Well, I think the most just for quick, people to understand, I think the most popular, and I think Joe Rogan kind of summed it up, but basically like the Anunnaki potentially, right, are these ancient aliens that came to Earth, made, humans from this other species that was already on Earth, genetically engineered to be slaves to mine gold, that they needed gold back for their home planet to put in the atmosphere for protection because they were having issues. So, right, they basically created this race, right, to mine gold for them, right? And then there's very, like you're saying, variations of that and how it happened, and how long, and how did it end, and what happened, right? Because there was this other race doing it first, and then they got tired of working, and they were like, we don't want to work anymore, right? Isn't that what it is? And then they were like, what can we do, right? We're going to stop working. And the Anunnaki were like, oh wait, there's these crazy little things here on Earth, let's genetically engineer them, let's give them a little bit of us and make them work for us, and then you guys don't have to do it anymore, right? Which is
essentially those
an
Anunnaki
interesting
were
agreement.
like ranked, there
Yeah,
were ranks, and these guys that weren't happy with working at mining, those were supposed to be foot soldiers only. They weren't supposed to be like royalty or anything. But
sure.
Allegedly, the mistake that people with the scripture translations made is that they were considered like really, because of their godlike abilities, they were considered gods, like for us, lesser beings, but allegedly they are not really high in the food chain of their species. That's what the
Correct.
scriptures
I
say.
see what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. They basically they were where we were at supposedly not too long before that, right? We basically replaced them. They stood up. It's basically like, promoting the guy on fries to assistant manager. Right? and now he's looking at the guy that was working the fry station now, right?
That's an excellent analogy.
And to quote Coming to America, that's when the big bucks start rolling in. Love that movie.
Did you catch that from Rogan where he alluded to our fascination that it's unexplainable on gold and shiny things? He kind of alludes that it's a genetic trait from them, That's what he said, essentially.
I mean, that's interesting. Well, I don't think he meant it like that, but that is interesting. I see what you're saying.
He does allude to it. Like, don't you find it strange that we have this weird fascination for gold? And I'm like, you're right. That is kind of strange.
I mean, but I disagree with that.
You do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not all of them do have that fascination.
I just don't think human beings. I don't think that's. I think what made gold was its rarity. I don't think they knew all the properties, especially not electrical properties or this properties back then in that day, right?
Yeah.
But if you believe this story about the Anunnaki, maybe it's potential that the humans overheard that. They knew how important it was because they were mining it. So it became important to us because it was important to them.
Yeah,
potentially, like people that work in blood diamond places and try to steal diamonds, right? Because it's worth something. They're clearly having you mine for it. It must be of worth. How are we even finding more gold on planet Earth if they mined it all for a couple 100,000 years? You know what I mean? Like, how is there still gold going on? And again, I've always said, dude, what a horrible solution. Whoever was in that conference meeting and said, I got an idea for our gold problem here for the Anunnaki. Let's go to this other planet and genetically engineer some monkeys to work for us for 250,000 years. Like, I don't even sending our foot soldier. Like, I don't know. It seems just like a lot of work to go do that. But maybe if it's not on your planet and you're interplanetary, it's like here on Earth where we go to another city or another part of the world. So maybe it's not so crazy, you know, in that sense of the word. I don't know.
Do you think that what all of these investigators that are looking into these ancient civilizations, do you think what they're trying to do has to do with this type of disclosure to get the people to know that this may have been real? Because that is a type of disclosure if you think about it.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever thought about it, but that's true. It's a great point. Because why wouldn't it be, right? Disclosure is just the truth of knowing our reality. I think that's what a lot of people mean by disclosure, right? Is confirming this alternate reality that may exist. Now, what that is and what's going, we don't know, but confirming that. And yeah, by looking back in time and potentially solving some of these mysteries from the past, like the Anunnaki, that is disclosure, immediate disclosure. So you're right. I mean, 100%. Are there any other stories like the Anunnaki that I don't know about, like ancient civilizations like that? Like, is that where Ron Hubbard got his story for Scientology? Was like the Anunnaki?
Guess so. There's also the Bhagavad Gita, which does talk about many of these gods, like Vishnu and all of these gods, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that the reason Amon Hillman, not to bring him up again, but I think that's
the guy from the Danny Jones podcast, right? Yeah. Just to be so people know who we're talking about.
What he's reading, because he said he had like 25,000 pages from an old scholar who wrote these texts, and he mentions Aphrodite, he mentions Dionysus, he mentions many Greek gods. And I sent him an email, Dr. Hillman. He hasn't responded because he's a very punk rock kind of guy, you know, that is against the system and doesn't want to earn any money from this. He's just doing it for the passion. And that's very much how classicists are, really. And many of the linguists who study the ancient tongues, they're very much like that. They don't like to, of course, I'm generalizing, as you know, I like to do sometimes, but
we all do it.
Yeah. But I think I want to talk to him specifically about the Greek mythology, because I found it really strange that Tom DeLong has spoken about this multiple times, not only in his books, but also during interviews before 2017. Did you ever see any of those interviews? He was saying some stuff that he was not supposed to be saying, you know? And
I mean, I just little things, but I didn't put it together. I mean, for me, it's that Joe Rogan interview that everyone else saw.
Yeah.
Right. That was like, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. He was already kind of tamed.
But, you know, all the small things guy. This guy Blink. I love Blink, dude. Like, I'm a huge fan, you know, like I love Blink. I was like, dude, this is crazy. Honestly, I was kind of like intrigued by it. And I remember like reading the YouTube comment, people were like roasting him. And I was like, what? I thought that was intriguing what he was saying. It did seem like he was off his rocker a little bit. I will say that, right? He seemed a little off, but that could have just been nerves. Right? Yeah, but it could have been just nerves. You're on Joe Rogan and you're talking about this for the first time, right?
You
all the
think
stuff
about
you've
that.
Been through.
He's gotta be careful in such a big platform of what he says that he can't say. But I gotta say though,
I thought he did well.
He talked about some even weirder shit over the previous year or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, dude. See, yeah, I didn't know any about. I mean, I've listened since then to a bunch of stuff he's done, but not in the moment, right? Like I didn't know he was. That's when I did find out. Oh wait, he got voted like paranormal researcher of the year or UFO researcher of the year, and he won all. You know, I was like winning this stuff. I was like, wait, what? He
just writing a book with Peter Lavenda already gives you a lot of cred, man. It's Peter Lavenda, you know.
So do you think Tom DeLonge's on to something like by stuff he's saying? Like,
I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of this stuff that happened because of stuff he did, either in public or behind the scenes. Whatever,
What do you mean? Like,
the videos in 2017,
oh, okay, like to the stars,
yeah,
and
yeah,
just
all
bringing
of
it
that.
out into the conversation and getting
Yeah.
people. I can see, yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
And I know that he has connections to the intelligence community through his family. Not exactly how, but I did hear that once. And I don't know. I do think he knows a lot more than what he says in public. And I would pay a lot of
For
attention to
sure.
the stuff he says about the human consciousness and how the human brain is kind of like an antenna that you can point towards different places in the universe.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me because the Mexican shamans used to regard their human minds something similar, like a
I don't think that makes sense
transmission
at all.
device. I do.
Our head is just round. Like, which way am I point? Why is my nose better? Like, what does that mean? My head is round right here. Like, it goes anywhere. It doesn't
I'm
matter.
not talking about pointing like this. I'm talking about intention.
Oh, okay. You mean
I
just
kind of
mentally,
could have
like,
used, intent.
just wanting something to happen, manifestation in a sense.
He called the human mind the most complex quantum computer in the universe. That's what he said, and
I mean,
I don't
I have
think
no way to
he's
verify
off.
that, but that sounds nice, right?
Yeah.
That sounds. I definitely agree. Our brains are fucking super mystery, right? And I have heard Tom DeLonge talk about, right, the vibration, right? Like you're saying, where these antennas, you got to vibrate, you hit it the right vibration, the right frequency. And I have heard him talk about intent and manifestation. You can basically do anything. You can fly.
Yeah.
You can heal. You can do this. You can do that. You're basically saying you can do anything if you think hard about it enough and believe in it enough.
Yeah, but
Which
it's
is
more
interesting.
like repetition more than believing, because anything takes practice. And
Okay, I see what
that's
you're
the
saying.
reason why Mexican shamans start from a very early age when they find these specific traits they have, and they start from a very early age, and they never end their journey until they die. They're
Got it.
always every day learning new things about
That
the
makes sense.
shamanistic practices.
That makes sense. I mean, that definitely makes sense. I get that for sure. I mean, it's like teaching the Force, right? Like they do in
Yeah.
Star Wars. You got to
Yep.
teach the Force, right? Wow. Okay. So, do you think Tom DeLonge is going to come back into? I mean, I know he's doing Blink and touring, and do you think it's just he's busy with music? Because he was always busy with music, but he would still do the UFO stuff. So, what do you think?
Remember Ross's AMA on Reddit?
I do, but I don't remember. Did he say
They asked
something
him
about Tom
about it.
DeLonge?
Yeah, they asked him about it, and he said he already had said yes to being on his show on the reality check.
Oh,
Then I
got it.
asked Ross in private, and Ross told me that he didn't have a date. He just confirmed that he would be.
Got it.
But yeah,
That he'll do.
he's
I'll do your show.
He's
and
going
then
back on
we'll
his
figure it
show.
out.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Well, he did those couple interviews with Jim Simivan. I actually,
those are cool.
I thought they were great. I listened to both. It just felt like two dudes hanging out talking about UFOs, and I could appreciate that. If you just forget that one of them is CIA, forget the other is the lead singer of a massive rock band, it just sounded like two dudes talking about the topic, and I actually did enjoy that. Yeah, I made a video about Tom DeLonge making his first public comments about David Grush because he hadn't said anything yet. We didn't know this whole. How crazy is that? Almost a full year went, at least 8 months, 9 months of no word from Tom DeLonge about David Grush.
I'm sure there's a lot of celebrities that know a lot of stuff, but they're not as public as Tom is.
100%
about this topic.
I think more
specifically,
celebrities than anything.
Yeah.
And sports players, and they're into this shit, dude. They, you know what I'm saying? They definitely are, without a doubt. Just artistic people and musicians.
Yeah.
Dude, I have friends that are in bands and they're musicians and they're pretty well known, dude. They love this topic. Okay. They love my show. They love watching this stuff. They like, but they're not going to come out and say it. They're not, maybe a couple of them would, but I had one guy on that one of my friends came on, Bob, but a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but not publicly, but privately, dude, they're all about it, dude.
I want to get to a
100%.
place where this topic is so mainstream that we can have debate tables where we have like these celebrities, especially I want to see one with Spielberg, Del Toro, Ridley Scott, Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve.
Oh my God.
And the same table, like a round table,
Yes.
the ones that Variety does, you know, but
Yes.
talking about this topic and what
Dude,
they know.
Add in Guillermo del Toro, and we have a fucking
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
Alfonso Cuarón. I would love to to see him go back into space and make a movie, dude, because Gravity is one of the greatest
Achievements in cinema.
It might be the greatest theater experience I've ever had. When I first saw Gravity in the theater, like that experience of seeing it in IMAX, and like I'll never forget that. Like
Dude,
there's only a few
gave me a
movies.
lot of anxiety, that movie, man.
Oh, dude, it was
horrible.
It was crazy in a theater. Like I just remember thinking, wow, this is amazing. And to have somebody like that go like tackle this topic, but talk about it, hear their thoughts about these subjects. You know, Spielberg is making a movie, right? He's got a movie coming out. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a video, and I thought, oh, the news is past. I'm kind of I missed the boat. And so I was like, well, they just put out a release date, so maybe I can still make a video because I can include this. We know the exact release date. So I'm watching this behind the scenes footage on the small channel, like I stuff I hadn't seen before, behind the scenes footage of Close Encounters.
Dang,
right?
Dude.
And they're interviewing Spielberg, and the first like 10 minutes of this video is like a mini UFO documentary, and it's awesome. It's like why they're going to do the movie and what they're getting into and what's going on during that time and where the mindset was, and it's fascinating, dude. Like to have what they think about the topic and the subject and how they look at it and what they were thinking back then, how it relates to where we are now. It's not so different, but just to see what they do artistically with it and put it out, I think it all helps, right? Musically, if more artists were involved in making music about the phenomena a little bit, I guess maybe movies, TVs, talk shows, right? Having people on to talk about it and not just laugh about
all of
right?
that.
Like,
all of that is going to change if we get disclosure. All of that.
Oh,
stuff
that would change in an instant because all of a sudden it's, we can talk about that. We're allowed. That's what mainstream everything is. Not just media. Mainstream everything is waiting on. They're waiting for that switch to flip, like a light switch. As soon as it's switched to, it's okay to talk about. Everyone will talk about it. And everyone will say, I've been into this since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I find really, really strange that really rubs me the wrong way? When I see people like Neil deGrasse Tyson shedding on the topic, like in a really smug way.
Odd.
I don't like that,
from
man.
Him. It doesn't
They can
fit
at least be respectful, you know, like, I don't know.
I just didn't expect him to treat it like that because I've loved Neil deGrasse for a long time and always
Cosmos, man. It's so cool.
Got it. Yeah, dude, absolutely. And just so much, I followed a lot of what he did. Just liked what he talked about, and it led me to other people to learn and find out from and whatever. Right. So I remember the first time that I heard him really talk about UFOs, and I was like, really? That's your take? That seems so out of place, to be honest, compared to how he thinks about everything else. Because Neil's thing is that he always loves to come in out of nowhere and make a point that no one's thought about, right? That's his big thing he likes to do on talk shows, whatever. I've been thinking about this thing, and I look at it from this angle. And if you think about it this way and blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to UFOs, he doesn't do that. He finds the fucking easiest, laziest, low-hanging fruit take to give, and I find that odd that he hasn't sat back and done that same Sherlock Holmes science that he likes to do. I just coined that term. I'm gonna make a shirt that says that Sherlock Holmes science, baby.
TM.
TM. Yes. So I don't know, but I hear you on him. I hear who's somebody in mainstream science you do like the way they talk about the UFO phenomenon.
I like Cox. It's his last name. Brian Cox. Yeah.
Love that guy.
He's also skeptical, but he's like
respectful about it.
Yeah.
Totally.
And also obviously Michio Kaku, because he gets into it deep, and that dude's a Nobel Prize nominee, I think. I don't know if winner, but
he's awesome.
He's so good. Yeah.
I love that guy. Yeah. Great in interviews. So I would love to interview that guy. I think that could happen. I think both of us could get an interview with him eventually, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's cool. Yeah.
What about you?
I listened to Brian Cox is a good one. Sean Carroll, is that his name? Sean Carroll? Why am I saying his name
I think
wrong?
so.
Just watched an interview with him. I've seen that's it, right? Yeah, I was just like, I've seen a bazillion videos of that guy. Listen to him on so many different podcasts. I like him. He's like a mix of, nobody's like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No. Because he's a great communicator too.
Sean can be a little dismissive, but that's his whole personality. Like, it fits in with how he looks at everything. So I like his opinion. I want to hear his opinion on it. Again, that's why Neil deGrasse Tyson's is so odd, because it doesn't line up with how he is on everything else. And Brian Cox, the way he looks at UFO, it's the way he looks at everything. It fits with how he looks at things. That's why Neil deGrasse Tyson is so odd to me. But yeah, Sean Carroll, and I would have said Brian Cox too. I like Brian Greene.
Brian Greene is good.
He's a great communicator. I just like the way he sort of explains things, and pretty much 95% of the scientists that Lex Friedman brings on his podcast.
Oh yeah. Bernardo Castro is good, but
yeah, he's great.
He kind of disappointed me recently, but let's not talk about that.
Was that the
Terrence Howard stuff?
The Terrence Howard stuff. Oh wait,
would have been nice if he said yes to our proposals on Twitter.
I was gonna say, I feel like there was something there. So I put out that proposal for Mick West and Ashton Forbes to debate. Ashton Forbes responds, wants to do it. Mick West declines, says he doesn't want to do it. But someone tagged Bernardo. And maybe
no, it's different. No, there was another tweet where I asked if it was cool to have him and Terrence in a debate.
But where did you ask him that? In the comment section
on Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, it was in another. But it was about that Ashton Forbes thing.
It was really.
Dude, you know what? Don't trust my memory. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember either. So let's.
I don't remember Twitter hardly at all. Anyway, I barely on there, so I don't remember.
Essentially, he said no. That he
he said no to something,
and you asked him to be on VETTED without the debate, and he didn't respond.
Okay, so I said something then to him too. Okay, see, I don't even remember that. Okay. Oh, maybe it was. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Tupa's like, we're all too high.
Tupa
in the comments.
Is Tupa in there? We're all too. That's hilarious. No, I wish I was Tupa. I'm way past it. I'm in my 40s, dog. I can't. I'm boring now. I'm so boring. This is tobacco. Honestly, I should just lie and say no. It is, what the kids doing. I'm over here. I'm popping off. I'm popping off, y'all. Yeah, give me the ganj. No, I like my friend says, you want to do some marijuana? Who says do marijuana, bro? Love it. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know, with all of that, but yeah, Terrence Howard was interesting.
Yeah.
Him
was
going
cool.
off, just getting people excited about science and throwing a wrench in. I don't
I
mind throwing a
remember
wrench
now.
in.
I remember
Okay.
now. I
was it?
commented on a Kurt Jai Mongol post where I proposed the debate, and then you responded because I tagged you
Got
on
it.
the comment.
You proposed he should debate Ashton Forbes.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
proposed that because he was asking that about proposal for debates on the Terrence Howard stuff, and I said that Terrence Howard should debate Bernardo, and Bernardo declined.
Got it. Okay. I believe you.
Yes,
Look,
from a Kurt post.
let's do some comments, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for watching. This has been awesome. I'm going to start with this super chat that Chrissy Ripson in. Thank you, Chrissy. You're awesome. Says, hey, Patrick, buy Pavel a beer for me. It's going to be a little one, Chrissy. I'm going to get him a little beer. Just a tiny little. I'm going to let him look at a beer. I'm just going to show him
I
a
want
picture of
some
one.
wine.
Just kidding. Yeah, I want some wine. I love it. She says, great show as always. Thank you for the early access to your videos on Patreon. See you in the meeting tomorrow. Yes, I can't wait for the Patreon meeting tomorrow. That's going to be awesome. And that is something new I'm doing on Patreon. Thank you, Chrissy, for bringing that up. Every week I'm putting in, I just started it. Every week I'm putting in Patreon only videos. Either it just be for Patreon and videos of just, hey, this is going later in the week on the channel, but take a look at it ahead of time or whatever. Yeah, I'm excited to add some more stuff to the Patreon membership for sure. So if you haven't already, go to the website, vetted.show, sign up for Patreon. We do the weekly hangout on Fridays, just like this. Just imagine what Pavel and I are doing, but a bunch of us just hanging out, talking, not live, not on the internet, off the internet. So we can say whatever we want, get loose, cut loose. And then, yeah, these Patreon only videos. So no, that's awesome. Thank you, Chrissy. Very much appreciated. There is the website. Yeah, comments. I don't know. I haven't been looking at them, to be honest with you, guys. I get so into the conversations, I forget the comments. Like I don't. So thank you guys so much for just hanging out. All the mods. I hope you guys have been treating them well. I'm sure you have. Remedy's in the house. Thank you, Remedy. You're awesome. Heiser, thank you so much. Love the Tupas here, man. Go check out Skyfire, y'all. They're crushing it. I had to stick up for Tupa and Red Panda on Twitter. I forget who was coming after him, saying some bullshit about it. I was just like, what the hell? Dude, people are crazy, man. I swear to God.
It gets really nasty on Twitter, man.
And then I just had to get out again because it's like, God damn it, I got pulled into Twitter. Like, but it pains me. It just pains me, dude. I just don't see the point of it. Just don't watch them or look at them. Why do you have to write vile stuff about people? Like, they're going to read it. It's going to hurt them. So I just don't see the point.
Yeah.
But anyway, shout out to Tupa and to Skyfire and Red Panda. Twitter is wild. Yes, it is. That's why I'm not on there. I say that, and then watch tomorrow. I'll be tweeting with somebody. Watch. 2 times in 1 week, I responded on Twitter to a comment. Twice. I had that Steve Cambion thing. And then I forget who the dude was with Tupa and Red Panda. I wish I could remember. I forget. I blocked somebody. Even I don't even remember who it was. I blocked somebody. Anyway, oh, I'm not even saying their name. Who I blocked?
No, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't
yeah,
say it.
I just remembered who it was. Somebody put it in the comment.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it.
Oh no, I am not. What the heck? Hi, Patrick and Pavel. No idea you were on. Well, now you know, Terrence. Now you know. And we're out. So thank you guys so much. No, I'm just kidding.
Bye.
Pebbles. I love it. Pebbles. What a name, dude. That's what a great. Mods are sweet tonight. Mods are sweet every night. Thank you, Heiser. Remedy. I don't know. Brooker's probably not in, late for her. For sure. Yeah, it looks like just them just rocking it tonight.
I like this comment. The James
it.
Fox one.
Where is it?
James Fox should have you guys on his movie.
Should have
That's
you guys
funny.
in his movie. Yeah, I proposed an opening dance number that Pavel and I should do for James's movie, but he declined. James Fox said no. The idea of Pavel and I in banana
I wanted to be an
hammocks.
extra, but he said no.
Yeah, an extra. Yeah, man, just let me stand in the let me just cross this street and put me in the background. Yeah, I'll just stand behind Tim Burchett. I won't say anything, but we're in his office, Pavel. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just look out the window. I love it. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoy the show. Having Pavel on was fun. I enjoy these night streams, dude. It's a little more, I don't know, it's just different from the 12 p.m. slot.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
fun.
It feels a little more loose. I ate on stream to start this off. We had some technical difficulty. Dude, it's fast food and I'm gonna feel it. I don't eat fast food, so when my body does get it, it feels, it tastes good, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But then afterwards I'm like, oh, my body's like, this just wants to like get rid of everything in it, everything about it. But we'll deal with it. Aaron Dunn says Paterack. Do some stuff on Connor O'Ryan. I don't know who that is.
Who's that?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Jeremy Lee Inman says, how many tacos did Pat eat? What does that mean? Oh, I didn't have tacos. I had burger. I had one burger. I love tacos though. Can eat a lot of tacos. Depends what kind are we talking about. Are they little ones? Are they big? You know, it all depends. John says Portal Paul's, or is it Paul's Portal?
Oh, dude, I got something to say about that.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's Paul's Portal, right? Yeah, John, it's Paul's Portal. The other way around. Paul's Portal Twitter Spaces have been really interesting this week. Yes, I brought this up because, as Pavel said, he just did a video on it. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that, Pavel?
Yeah, because it happened to Paul, and
you were there.
He's a buddy of mine. I was there. Yeah, but it's happening to a lot of people from UFO Twitter over the past
Let's talk
week.
about what happened. Like what happened. Like what's happened.
We were on a space. Paul had Lightbringer on one of his spaces. You're gonna have him on a future space too, right?
Oh, I didn't know Lightbringer was in there with you guys.
No, he was in a previous space before that one.
And then Paul?
When that one finished, with Paul, I got into a late space with Paul, and Paul was on his backyard, I think.
Interesting.
Then he started screaming, and I was like, "What's going on?" And obviously, he was like, "It's an orb," and we all instantly were like, "Take pictures, man!" Like, I was kind of worried because the orb didn't leave; it stayed there above him, and I get really spooked when stuff like that. I read about stuff that has happened to people, like ionic radiation and all that stuff, you know. So I was just like, "Is it far? Are you okay? Are you freaked out?" And just like worried about Paul, you know. And then he started sending the pictures and the videos, and we're like, "Okay, this is happening." So it stayed for a while, and then Paul got weirded out because he told us that the orb was messing with his perception of depth, and that he needed to go lay down. And that's when we stopped talking to him about it. But it was like a good 40 minutes that he was looking at the orb and talking to us and reacting and telling us how he felt, and us giving him warnings and pressuring him to take pictures, because there were some people that got a little like too intense at a certain moment, talking over each other and stuff. It got tense. So it then I talked to Paul, and it's on my channel, and he's okay though. Someone asked him like, "Hey dude, can you record yourself sleeping?" And I was like, "What the hell?"
So if people want to learn more about that, you have an interview you did with Paul after this happened, and you were there. So this is cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So
Yeah,
okay,
and I
guys. So
showed
go
the
to.
2 videos
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. Right on. Okay,
at
perfect,
minute
guys.
21 and 16 seconds. The videos start
Great.
because something weird happened. Even weirder.
Yeah. You mean in the interview you did with him?
Yeah, you saw it?
No.
Okay, no. When he was having this experience, somebody said Chris Bledsoe's name,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
orb started zigzagging and reacting,
It started doing stuff.
and it started shining more, and it was
Yeah.
really strange. I
That's
found
it.
that really.
They should
really...
try to trick the orb and be like 6 Bledsoe, but you don't say Chris Bledsoe, and see if the orb moved, and you're like, gotcha. I meant I didn't say Chris Bledsoe. No, that's cool. Okay, guys. So go to Pavel's channel. The link's in the description. Go check out that interview if you want to learn more about that. See the videos, and like you said, other things are happening. Like Pavel said, other things are happening in other spaces too. And Pavel mentioned someone called Lightbringer. And as you remember, 3, 4, 5 days ago, I actually don't remember what day it was, I made a video about someone whistleblowing coming out on Twitter that was Lightbringer. I asked Lightbringer to come on the show, and originally he said yes to me in Twitter DMs. Then today he messaged me a very long message. Basically, he was not happy with the video I made of him, and he said I misrepresented his story in the video, even though all I did was play his own words. But that's neither here nor there. And he said he didn't want to come on and do an interview with me because he was afraid I might edit it improperly, make him look bad, right? So he said, do you want to do a Twitter space, right? And it's live, and then you can make a video on that, whatever you want. I said, I mean, he wrote me like 8 paragraphs. All I said was, sure, let's do the Twitter space. I got boom. So we're doing a Twitter space. VETTED is going to do its very first.
Crowded.
I've never done a Twitter space before, so this will be VETTED's very first Twitter space. Well, hang on. Give me a second. Hang on. Pavel's even excited. Look at Pavel. He's super excited here. So VETTED's going to have their very first Twitter space. Okay. I'll make sure to put a link in the description. You can go and get it scheduled. It's next Wednesday. Okay. At 6 p.m. I think. I'll have to check. It's in there. But next Wednesday evening. And the only way you can listen to it, if you want to listen to it live, if you don't want to wait for my videos, you have to go to Twitter. So you can't listen to it to YouTube. I'm not going to be live streaming it through anything. It's going to be strictly on Twitter. Me and Lightbringer talking. Twitter Spaces does give you the ability to bring up other people, right? Other speakers, but you have full control of that. So other people could come up and ask Lightbringer questions. I'm probably going to do that at the very end, but the whole point was for me to talk to Lightbringer, and he wanted to do it live. So it will be me and him. It will be just me and him for quite a while. And then at the very end, depending on how he's feeling, right, I will allow other people to come up and, ask him some questions depending. But this isn't I'm not hosting a live Q&A for Lightbringer. Okay. That's not what this is about. This is that way you have the full understanding of why I'm even doing the Twitter space, because I didn't want to do the Twitter space. And I will make a video of, the highlights from our conversation. Right. But no problem. Lightbringer had a problem with how I made that video. He wanted to make sure it was live so that I couldn't manipulate it. No problem. All right. And just to be fair, when I made that video about him originally, I put a link in the description to the full interview that I pulled from. The people could go watch it uninterrupted. Right. So I'm just saying, that's there. So yes, what advice do you have me for Twitter Spaces? You're more of an expert. You're more of an expert on Twitter Spaces.
what you just announced is exactly what I was going to tell you that you needed to do, because there's a lot of chaos on Twitter Spaces when you give people a little too much time, or even allow them on the space to as speakers, because there are a lot of people that are just disruptors. You've talked
Yeah.
about this on many of your
Yeah.
videos,
Yeah.
and I don't think that it's I don't think the space is going to go smoothly if any of these people get in there and try to ask questions and talk over each other. And I don't think that's productive, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's going to be like a listening party, because it's
Yeah.
going to be me and Lightbringer for a long time. I mean, that's the whole reason to do it, is to put it out so people could see it, because the idea was for him and I to have a conversation. And Courtney, right? That was what they said. They said he spoke for Courtney and said that they wanted to come on and talk and explain more and give more details. And I was like, cool. I was like, absolutely, let's do it. And then I just didn't hear from him.
Make sure also that you record it, because there's
of course.
I opened a space once that I couldn't record because it was my first time, and I was just played it and it didn't record. And it was coincidentally the same space where the Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson interview leaked 12 hours before, and I had to record it with my phone.
Oh, right on. Yeah, no, I'm definitely recording it. I mean, that's the whole point, is for me to make this video about it, right? And then reference back to it. Again, the Twitter space is not because I want to do a Twitter space. I'm only doing this Twitter, and I will not do another Twitter space. So it's not like Vetted's going to start doing Twitter spaces. I have zero desire to do that. I should put that in the title: Vetted's first and only Twitter space, as I'm not doing this.
Never say never.
No, I'm saying never. I don't like Twitter spaces.
You never know. Never say never.
And then but I do say never. And then when I come back, I go, what? I never said never. See? That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You just plausible deny. I just go, I never said that. I never said that. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
It's an idea.
Yeah, of course. Of course. You never know. For me, it's exactly what you said earlier, right? Which is just, I've been in a few Twitter spaces. I've been in some with you, right? Where we've heard I've seen people go off, get crazy. They come in drunk. They're screaming obscenities. They get very aggressive. I don't have any time for that. I'm not a fan of that. I don't see the point.
Shit to do, man.
I don't have a power trip. I can interview people in real time like this, and have conversations. I'm only doing the Twitter space to please Lightbringer. And honestly, Patrick, from 2 months ago, I would have just told Lightbringer, you know what, don't worry about it. But I just like, you know what? Screw it, man. I'll just try it. Let's just see what happens. You want to talk on the Twitter space? To me, that's no different than us talking right here. He's not going to show his face. I'm not going to know his name. Right. And we'll go with it. There'll just be other people listening, which doesn't bother me at all. Right. He's pleased. He feels comfortable in what he wants to say. And more people get to hear about it and decide for themselves. Because I'm not trying to gotcha this guy or anything. I'm not trying to do anything mean or, I just have questions about, he's saying he's part of some child super secret remote viewing psychic program. I'm curious about that sounds crazy.
Would be
Stargate 2.0. Yeah, that sounds like holy shit. Literally Stranger's Things. Okay, dude. Yeah, I want to hear about this. This is it. This is fascinating. So that's he's going to talk about it. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. With Lightbringer. What, you got any other interviews coming up, Pavel? Anything you want to?
Yeah,
talk about?
I'm soon going to talk with James Yandoli from Engaging the Phenomenon. And I already spoke to him on Monday, but it was off the record. We just got to know each other a little bit and see how potential interview would go. It went great. He's a really cool dude. He's a New Yorker.
You did interview him.
Yeah, but that was off the record. We just shoot the
Ye-
shit for a little bit.
That's
And
hilarious. I interviewed him today. That's hilarious.
really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, we spoke
He's
for
really cool.
Yeah, he was great. Told the story and we had an interesting conversation for sure. That'll come out in like 4 or 5 days.
Nice. Is this an exclusive?
No, I
No.
don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
sure actually. I may have said
And
it. I don't know. I don't know.
I got
actually.
Professor Brown.
Professor Brown.
Professor Brown, the philosophy teacher that's going to talk about the mummies.
Oh yeah. Okay. Very cool.
He's
Very
going
cool.
on the show. And I got a yes from Dr. Beatriz Villarreal.
Yeah.
And she told me that we could do it after June 15th. So I'm going to reach out to her this weekend.
That's coming up. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool, dude. Yeah, I spoke with James and I spoke with Stephen Diener is his name. He runs the Unidentified Alien podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And he dropped some. Well, James gave me an exclusive in our interview for sure. You'll have to wait and hear about that. Definitely talked about something he hadn't spoke about before. And Steven did too. I think I just have a way with people, dude, when I'm talking to them. They're just like, you know what? It happens every time. They just go, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to talk about the, I'm going to just say this thing,
That's cool,
whatever.
man.
So Steven was interesting. He's connected to really nice guy. He's connected to the whole Jason Sands thing that happened. And he talked about that, some stuff that I didn't know about, so that was interesting.
Damn.
That's coming out sooner. That'll be out this week. That'll be out Saturday. That's Saturday's video, basically. Saturday or Sunday, one of those 2 days is that Stephen Diener interview. And please go check out a show, Unidentified Alien Podcast. Yeah, he's got a lot of great interviews on there. He's broken some stories himself. He takes a different approach than I do. You even take a different approach in the sense that you're willing to have anonymous sources. You're willing to talk to people off the record.
I am a journalist.
You will go that extra mile,
like
right?
That.
Yeah, you will do those
I'll
things.
protect the sources
I will not.
with everything I have, man.
See, I have zero, sorry, but I'm not trying to risk I'm not going to protect some person I don't know for my family, die for them or go to jail. No way. Not happening.
I think that's a little, it's an extreme for sure. That can happen. I'm sure if everything Ross Coulthard is talking about is true, I'm sure he's risking a lot by protecting many of those sources,
Yeah.
And I guess
you don't go too far though.
No.
It's not like you're talking to people like Steven talks to people within the intelligence community who have a pseudonym, who feed him information, right?
Let me give you an example. I was in an interview recently. I recorded it. And then when we finished, the person I interviewed asked me to remove a certain part that he wasn't supposed to talk about.
Got it.
And when you're asked that,
I would do that.
Yeah, I obviously did it. And
yeah,
that's protecting the source too, It's not just keeping secrets,
Yeah, in that sense, I do that stuff. If someone I brought into my house as a guest said, "Hey, man, I don't like that part. Can you pull that out?" Absolutely. I don't even argue. And I've said that at the beginning of every interview I've ever done, 300 plus interviews. And I'll tell you what, no one has ever asked me to take anything out. Ever. Now, I've had somebody tell me to take down the whole interview before, but not for that reason. For, you know what? I'm going to tell a story I've never told before. Here, I'm going to name a name I've never named before. This is an Oscar winner. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. So fuck it. So I interviewed this Oscar winner. I'll say his name at the end. I interviewed this Oscar winner, screenwriter, Oscar-winning screenwriter. Lives in England. And I interviewed him for like an hour and a half on my other show. And, you know, Zoom, right? We had a great interview. It goes awesome, whatever. Lovely time. I meet his kids. He brings his kids into the camera. Like, you know, we just had a great time, right? Got along great. Fellow Texan. Then the interview goes live. I'm getting a phone. Dude, my phone is blowing up. It's like 3 a.m. My phone is blowing up, dude, from this guy's assistant named Liam. And I'm checking the messages, and it's like, Patrick, call me right away. Call me, you know. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And I'm very new into podcasting at this point. This was like one of my very first big interviews, like ever. You know, I was like, holy shit, what the fuck's going on? So I call, and the guy's like, you got to pull that interview down right now, or we're gonna sue you. I'm like, are we gonna sue? I was like, sue me for what? What did I do? What happened? He's like, you didn't tell us it was gonna be video. You put a video. You showed his son in the video, and I was like, dude, in all of our, because you do like 10 emails before you ever get to the interview with celebrities like this. Yeah. Like you go through their agent, PR, and all this, man. Like all the details are way laid out before. So I was like, dude, we told y'all we were doing it video. We were on video. Like, yes, that all our other episodes are on video. So I'm like arguing with this guy. And finally I was just like, you know what? Just not worth it. We're just gonna pull the episode down. Not here to argue. No problem. You don't want the episode out? It's done. You know. And that was crazy. And his name is Dustin Lance Black. I've never said his name before. I've told that story a couple of times, but I've never said his name before because I don't know, just didn't feel like talking shit. But this is exactly, this is like a UFO podcast. You know, I don't think anybody's going to really know who he is, but he's a Texan. He lives in England. He's married to a famous Olympic diver in England. He's in their tabloids all the time. But yeah, that guy is an absolute prick, and especially his assistant.
Damn.
I'll never forget that. Damn, it was like, Patrick. you're an Oscar winner, dude, and you're gonna put the squeeze on this little Texas podcast, dude. The way they handled it was so like wrong. That, like all you had to do was call politely or email politely, and we would have done it. You didn't need to threaten us, like with, you know what I mean?
That was shady.
Like they were gonna ruin us. This guy was trying to ruin me. I was just like, dude, who are you, bro? First of all, oh my, dude, I was livid, dude. I remember just being like, fuck that guy in his movies. He won an Oscar for writing Milk that starred Sean Penn. If you saw that movie, Milk. So he wrote that movie. Anyway, so there's that off-topic story. We never got to this right here. Look, we'll go just a few more minutes here, Pavel. Sorry, boys against depression. I don't think we have enough time to talk about Elon. Guys, throw in your last questions here. Otherwise, Pavel and I are going to say goodbye.
Solve crimes.
I don't know what this says. Patrick, please, you need to talk to the family in Las Vegas who saw aliens in the backyard. So, my interview with Stephen Diener, which comes out, again, Saturday or Sunday, we talk about this because Stephen is... Actually, there's kind of an exclusive in the interview about the Las Vegas aliens. Okay, so you'll find out there is more to come. I do not want to give it away, but there is definitely more to come with that. So don't worry, I didn't forget. I just wanted to cover it in a different, you know, I had something to cover it with, right? This guy. So because Stephen has been speaking to Scott Roeder, who is the graphics guy doing the video or whatever. So there's more information coming out about that. So don't worry. Heiser, I don't know what this means. Heiser, just like it wasn't Bjork, she would have whooped your ass. TML Patrick. What are we talking about? I don't get it.
The artist, lucky it wasn't her interview that you had to pull down.
Oh yeah. Bjork. Wow. That's so random.
She there's this famous video of her hitting a paparazzi really savagely.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah. Leanne. Oh, Mary, I don't know what they're talking about here. Oh, they're talking about I think orbs and getting along there. Are we ever going to get a list of the government gatekeepers? Who are they? I'm so tired of hearing they. Yeah, you hear that a lot, right? They. It's like, what does that mean? Who is
Richard just
they?
talked about that, right?
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
With Matt.
Yeah,
He said there was a list that was going to be revealed in the hearings
yeah.
of both hostile and cooperative witnesses. So,
Yeah, we'll see how that. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
we'll
Curious
see.
when the hearing is. But it's a game of patience at this point, y'all. If you're not down for that, you're screwed. Still arise. Hope I'm saying that right. Still AI rise. I think new NASA UFO on live. It's on my X page. Still arise. Still AI rise. New NASA UFO. Interesting. Okay.
I saw that. It's like a little disc that goes up like in the frame as the shot is like the it's looking at directly at the planet, and there's this little just goes up.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And Elon keeps saying that there's no UFOs. This never happened. What are you talking about? That's not real.
Yeah, you're right. He's very confident that there's nothing.
Yeah. Too confident.
Right? Too confident. I agree. No Bueno says, are you excited for Lou's new book? Yeah, of course. I've been waiting 3 years for this GD book. I want to read that thing, man. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be. Listen, let's be real. Lou's book will go in the pantheon of UFO books, right? It's like Ross Coulthart's In Plain Sight, right? Like you're going to have Lou's book imminent, right? Like it is going to be up there. So yeah, I'm definitely excited. How about you, Pavel?
Yeah, me too. And I have been waiting for this too for a long time, so can't wait. I want to get the Audible one though.
Yeah, for sure. I need to be read to like a child. I don't know about you, but
me too.
I like it. Right? It feels nice. Like it's, you know what it is? It's kind of like a movie in a way. Like you kind of, it gets movie-ish, especially if they get the right.
It helps me multitask
person.
Too.
Well, absolutely. 100%, dude. Yeah, I'm with you there. And that's where people need to, if you want people to take in all these new books and information, we got to do it that way. Right. That otherwise there's no way. Chrissy says, good day. Can spot an Aussie a mile away. Looks like we have more Aussies in the chat. I think in Australia, it's like 1 o'clock maybe PM on Friday.
Damn.
I think I'm learning the hours right, but I could be wrong. Somewhere around there. So I like the Thursday night stream for that reason too. It's good for time for Australians, dude, because otherwise the time can get confusing. Like Daniel, dude. Daniel never showed up. Daniel keeps missing every live stream, y'all. I'm telling you, we gotta let's just jokingly, of course, we should roast Daniel from about the live streams, y'all. Jokingly. No, we hung out for a couple hours last night, talked about all the Discord stuff happening. A lot happening on Discord, which I like. Stink Floyd, got to kill the UFO stigma. Use UAP. Now I'll title my book using UFO. Well, because at the end of the day, UFO sells. And he doesn't get to decide that. Unfortunately, I wouldn't blame Lou for that. You have the editors. You've got the book publishing company that isn't going to invest a lot of money to promote this book and get it out there. Just UFO as a term sells better, right?
I also don't think that the term UAP caught on people. Everybody
not at all
saying UFO.
It's like Twitter and X. It's just confusing. You should have kept it UFO. Don't change, because anytime someone says X, they go, well, Twitter, X, Twitter, X, Twitter.
I say like Twitter.
Yeah, you just get confused. So when you're like, anytime you say UAP, UFO, You have to say both now. So why did we even bring it up?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. That's right. Heiser says, to be fair, Daniel works hard on our Discord channel. Oh, of course, Heiser. I'm busting balls here. Yeah, absolutely. I know he does. Just busting nuts. Trust me. Hey, Heiser, and I work hard on this channel too, and I do a lot of stuff for Discord too, buddy. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't sleep on my laurels.
Yeah. No, he does, and he has, and it's there now. We've said, Daniel did a great job of setting it up. We're not really doing much to it now. It's just running it, really. Which everyone's been contributing a lot to the Phoenix Light. So thank y'all so much. Like, holy shit, there's going to be so much to go through. We're only in June 6th. So I'm really excited to make that video. And Daniel's actually going to have a special part in the video because it's sort of a Discord server video in a way. At least a lot of the help's coming from that. So because Daniel helps so much with the Discord, definitely going to give him a little piece to do in that video. So I'm excited about that. But yes, everyone's been helping and contributing. So thank you guys. Heiser says, so many Post-it notes. We know you work hard, Patrick. Yeah, dude. I wish y'all could see my desk of Post-it notes right now. Like,
my desk is a mess too.
It's insane, the kind of Post-it notes. Like, I have so many I love Post-it notes. And I used to make fun of my father using Post-it notes so much. And then I became my father. Like, literally. I did. That's funny. I don't even know what I'm clicking on anymore, guys. I think I've already clicked on the same ones. Look, guys, I think we're probably done, right, Pavel? This is...
Yep. It was a great stream, man.
UFO for life. No, this was awesome, dude. I love chatting with you, dude. It's just hanging out. We get to talk about the phenomenon, different things. It's great, dude. I love digging into the ancient civilizations. I want to do that more. For sure. I need to bring somebody on to really talk about some of that stuff. I got to figure out who.
The other question, I didn't answer it. Who you should have on your show?
Yeah, for the mummies. Yeah.
There's this journalist who's also an experiencer who spoke to Andy from That UFO podcast. If you can have him, that'd be cool, because he has a connection to Thierry Germain, who is the French investigator.
Okay, I saw that. I saw the interview you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You think he would be the best one to talk to about the mummies
in English? I think so. Yeah. For
that
now,
guy?
yeah.
Okay.
Because I think they kind of hinted in those two interviews with Andy that Dr. Masters didn't exactly see the whole evidence, and you remember that recent video where Dr. Masters talks about the mummies, and this journalist, I'm sorry, I forget his name. I've seen him twice in those episodes.
I think his name is Alex something. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, the point is that he believes that Dr. Masters will eventually change his mind. He's like convinced. So I would have, honestly, the best one would be Dr. Masters after he looks at the entire evidence. And then we can get his reaction on what he actually thinks. If his mind was changed or if it wasn't, why it wasn't, Okay. Because he's an anthropologist and he does have one of the most logical theories of what UFOs may be. So I would go with him, to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah, right on. I like that. Yeah, because I do want to cover that. Every time I think to cover, I go, I don't really know what's going on. Like, I want to bring someone on and just let's dig into all of it, right? Let's update everybody on everything. That's his name?
William Gallison, yeah.
Okay. All right, right on. Awesome. Oh, sorry, still AI, right? Am I saying that right?
Still AI Rise?
Right, that's right. Am I saying that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
New one, stops above Earth, elevates, then takes off. Is that different from what you saw, Pablo? He's saying there's a new one.
What do you mean?
Or maybe, I don't know, the UFO. That's the NASA, the guy that wrote about the NASA.
It's one from today, the one that I saw. It's It goes like above
Okay.
like this.
Well, either way, guys, go to Still AI Rises Twitter. Look, it says his X page. It says it's that. So go check it out. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to bring it all together here. Like, Daniel, Discord, everything. Right. Okay. We made a new channel. Pardon me. I think it goes live tomorrow. Where basically, it's called the Patrick Help Patrick channel in Discord, where basically I'm going to go in and make a post and be like, hey guys, I'm trying to make a video on X. I need videos, I need help, and people can help me with research, whatever. And of course I'll give credit to everybody. So the first one I'm doing is UFO videos. I'm going to go in and be like, give me some new UFO videos, because I want to make a top 10 newest UFO exciting videos that are going on. Do you think this is one that could be included in that list? Do you find it exciting?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
I think
yeah.
There's one thing, last thing, with Kristian Carroll, who had a UFO encounter over the last week. He's been looking at UFOs and he pointed a laser at one. He asked me for some advice to get him proper equipment. He told me his budget and everything, and I told him what I thought would be a good choice to get proper footage of a UFO. And he's going to buy the equipment over the next few days, because they're apparently visiting him constantly. Like,
who
they're not leaving. Kristian Carroll. He's one of the UFO people from Twitter who have been looking at orbs recently. Like, there's been an uptick. It's really strange.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So he's getting different equipment to show some orb. Yeah, I'm happy to show stuff like that. For sure. No problem with that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, put that in the Patrick Help channel, and
I will
I'll make that post tomorrow. I'm happy to look at that
they
stuff.
Make. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Awesome, guys. Well, look, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to chat, the mods, everybody. Thank y'all so much. Look for tomorrow's video. It's already available to see what I'm doing. I pushed it a couple days just because some new news has come out, but it's my video with Billy Carson, or not with Billy Carson, but me talking about the Billy Carson, Joe Rogan interview in the Anunnaki and all of that. It's phenomenal. I definitely recommend you check out that video tomorrow. And look forward to that. And I'm sure Pavel will have some videos coming out too in the next few days, right? As well.
Yep.
And all links in the description. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Pavel. Go ahead.
No, I got a few. That's it, man. Thank you.
Got a few videos coming out. Yeah, of course. Links in the description. Go check out Pavel's channel. And as always, remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.